Hello everyone. This last week we had the sad news of the passing of Helen Caleb. She was a much loved member of Grace Community Church and then Haven Christian Fellowship. As Christians, we are not immune to times of sadness and painful seasons of life. Psalm 23 shows us how God guides us through times of life. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures and he leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." It's important, that phrase, even though. David himself, the author of the psalm, went through many trials in his life. And Jesus, we know from Isaiah 53, is a man despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and one acquainted with grief. Two things that we can know, and it's important what we know when we go through difficult times. There's two specific things that we can know, even when we don't feel it. Firstly, God has committed to be with us. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Secondly, we have a God who knows what it feels like. Jesus is a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. So we can know those two things. God is with us and God knows what it feels like. The third thing that often happens is that God raises up other Christians whose shoulders we can lean on, who walk alongside. This happened when I lost my mother, and Alison can testify how it happened for her when she lost hers. Katrina has been an amazing inspiration in leading prayer meetings and getting people together to pray for Helen through her last days. And Emily spoke on Sunday of how God has used her experience of loss to equip her to bring comfort to others. God raises those he has equipped for particular moments in life. There is no way to equip a Christian to minister to another going through the valley unless that Christian themselves have been through that valley. I believe that God wastes nothing and uses everything in his plans and his purposes. Last Sunday, Emily referenced the verse in Romans 8:28. How he makes all things work together for the good. Now that is a hard verse to hold on to when you're in the valley, and I know that only too well from personal experience. Last week we witnessed a new president, Joe Biden, entering the White House. We don't know yet if he will be a good one, but there was a feeling he is possibly the man America needs right now. With the COVID death toll in the country in excess of 400,000 and the former president exiting under a cloud of turmoil that he himself created, it was a relief for many to have witnessed a new dawn. America needs someone who can empathise with the pain that everyone's feeling right now. Joe Biden is a man who has experienced profound personal tragedy. On December the 18th, 1972, Joe Biden was in Washington when he got a phone call telling him that his wife, Nelia, had been killed, along with their infant daughter, Naomi, when their car was hit by a lorry. His two young sons, Bo and Hunter, were also seriously injured. They had been shopping for a Christmas tree at the time. Then in 2015, Bo Biden, Joe's son, died from a brain tumour. Piers Morgan was talking to Jeremy Vine on the radio this week, and he was recalling how he had asked Joe Biden Tell me, how does someone come through not just losing one child, but having to go through all that pain again? Joe said after the first tragedy that his dad gave him a cartoon of Hagar the Horrible. In the scene, Hagar was in a boat and it gets very stormy, and he looks to the gods to say, "Why me?" In the next scene, a voice calls back and says, "Why not you?" Joe reflects on this, that in life, bad things happen. You can't rationalise how one family will lose loved ones through COVID, and yet another family don't. Stuff happens. Joe felt that it was useless expending a lot of energy on trying to figure out something that makes no sense anyway. Before he started work as president, the day before his inauguration, he led a memorial service to honour the 400,000 Americans who had perished through COVID. One of the most poignant moments of that service was when a Detroit COVID nurse sang Amazing Grace. Last week in Angie's group, the Connect group, the phrase came up, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If we will trust in God in the valleys as well as on the heights, He can use our pain, our tragedies, to make us into His loving arms when others really need them most. May God bless you today.